US-Israel war with Iran Day 24. 1. President Trump announced a 5-day pause. Iran said there were no talks. Both claim to be winning. This is the defining story of Day 24. Trump announced on Monday morning in all caps on Truth Social that the US and Iran had held very good and productive conversations, and that he was postponing all strikes on Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for 5 days. Iran's foreign ministry responded within hours. There is no dialogue between Tehran and Washington. Iran's parliament speaker called it fake news designed to manipulate oil markets, and yet behind the scenes Egypt, Pakistan, Turkey, and Qatar are all passing messages between both sides. The war paused. The denials continued. The talks appear real. 2. The secret meeting is reportedly being planned in Islamabad, Pakistan. According to the Jerusalem Post, Axios, and the Financial Times, Pakistan is positioning itself as the lead mediator. Pakistan's Army Chief General Asim Munir spoke with Trump on Sunday. A meeting between senior US envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and Iran's Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf is reportedly being planned in Islamabad. Potentially as early as this week. Ghalibaf is a former IRGC general, former mayor of Tehran, and a close associate of the new supreme leader. He denied the talks publicly. 3. Oil dropped 8% in minutes. Then markets rallied. The moment Trump's pause announcement hit, Brent crude fell more than 7% from $114 to below $99 a barrel. US markets opened sharply higher. The S&P 500 gained more than 1% in its strongest session since the war began. This is what a ceasefire trade looks like. Brent was $71 on February 27th. It hit $114 on Sunday. The 5-day pause brought it back toward $1.99. That is still 40% above where it started. The market is not celebrating peace. It is pricing in the possibility of peace. There is a difference. 4. The IEA chief called this the greatest energy threat in human history. IEA Executive Director Fadi Birol said Monday that the global economy faces a major threat from this war's disruption to oil and gas flows. He said the current crisis is worse than the 1973 and 1979 oil shocks combined. No country will be immune to the effects of this crisis if it continues to go in this direction, Birol said. 5. Iran denied everything and kept firing, while Tehran's foreign ministry denied all talks. Iranian missiles and drones continued hitting Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, the UAE and Bahrain throughout Monday. The UAE's defense ministry confirmed intercepting 7 ballistic missiles and 16 drones on the day. Since the war began, 352 ballistic missiles, 15 cruise missiles and 1,789 UAVs have been launched at the UAE alone. 6. Israel launched a wide-scale wave of strikes on Tehran. On the same day as the pause, while Trump announced a diplomatic pause, Israel struck Tehran on Monday morning anyway. The IDF said it launched an extensive wave of strikes targeting Iranian terror regime infrastructure. Targets included IRGC headquarters, weapons production sites and missile component storage facilities in the capital. 7. Iran's senior military advisor said the war continues until full compensation. Mohsen Razori, senior military advisor to Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei, said Monday that the war will not end until Tehran receives full compensation for damage it has sustained. Iran's demands as relayed through mediators include a permanent ceasefire, guarantees the war will not resume, and financial compensation. The US position: Iran must surrender its enriched uranium, end its nuclear program, abandon its ballistic missile capability, and stop funding proxies. The gap between these two positions is enormous. 8. UK Prime Minister Starmer called an emergency economic meeting. The economic shockwaves hit London hard enough on Monday that UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer called an emergency meeting to address the mounting economic fallout from the war. European natural gas prices have jumped 60% since February 28. The EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen called publicly for going to the negotiating table and ending the hostilities, saying the situation is critical for energy supply worldwide. 9. US CENTCOM. The Strait of Hormuz is physically open. Ships just won't go through. US Central Command Admiral Brad Cooper said Monday that the Strait of Hormuz is technically physically open, but ships are not transiting because Iran continues firing missiles and drones at vessels. He said the US has been hunting and killing Iranian watercraft used to attack shipping and that Iran's military capabilities are deteriorating. He described Iran as operating in a sign of desperation, saying they have deliberately attacked civilian targets more than 300 times in recent weeks. 10. The human toll at Day 24, over 1,047 Iranian civilians confirmed killed, including 214 children, for the US-based human rights activists news agency. At least 1,039 killed in Lebanon since March 2nd, including 118 children, 18 Israeli civilians killed and 13 US military service members killed. More than 4,700 Israelis injured, or approximately 5,000 Israelis displaced from their homes.